PFL was in Atlantic City at Boardwalk Hall on Friday night, giving us the championship finals of the welterweight and featherweight tournaments. But you're looking for a headline. How about Thad Gene continuing the breakout star turn and becoming one of PFL's best stories by winning that welterweight tournament, scoring a dominant 5-round unanimous decision over former Bellator interim champion Logan Storley. At 11-0, Thad Gene is becoming, like I mentioned, one of the biggest thing PFL's got going. He's got a $500,000 cash prize, and it does gain him entry into PFL's Champions League Tournament Global Championship / I don't really know what that means, but hey, let's talk about the good stuff right now. Luke, where should Thad Gene right now rank on PFL's current roster in terms of the fighters that they need to build the company around? I'm talking about matchmaking and marketing with real intention moving forward. How valuable to PFL is Thad Gene after this season?
Critical. Thad Gene is a success story for PFL, not merely because he's likable and he wins, but as we mentioned, this was a guy that fought on the challengers card. They scouted him, they found him, they developed him, they put him through the tournament. He did his part, and now look at the consequence. He is young, he's exciting, he likes to fight on the feet. He's got a great story.
Big, too.
He's
big.
Huge as a welterweight. I cannot believe how big he is, which, by the way, will make some interesting issues if PFL survives a little while longer and he continues to perform. Like, how much longer does he have time at 170? I don't know the answer to that.
Sure.
But certainly right now, he is that guy. English speaking. I mean, Shamil Musayev is one of these guys that you would imagine would be, the one that he wants, and I think he, in fact, did call him out afterwards, and it's a really, really difficult fight. Musayev is a fun guy to have on your roster because he provides quality, but he's not going to electrify the American market anytime soon. I mean, this is the thing about PFL. We've talked about it. They don't have a domestic fan base. They don't have one.
And it's because of their system and format, in my opinion.
There's many reasons.
Yep.
There's many reasons. That's a big contributor. But one of the ways in which they could, I don't know if solve the problem, but make certainly some inroads is to feature more guys like this. Now, I don't know if he's ready to beat Musayev, BC. It's Storley's a very good opponent. Musayev's a different level. But the point I wanted to make is this was such a great night for him. It's a very good night for PFL. What they need to do is, and this is the thing that drives me nuts, they need to promotionally build around him, not build things and then plug fighters in.
Sure.
I know UFC does that and gets away with it. They're not UFC. You need to do it the much more organic way, but you've got something now. You got really a person you can build around. Dakota Ditchevis, something similar for the UK, although you can build her here too.
Well, let me ask you where his stock ranks when you consider, okay, they let some people go that I thought they should have built around Pico, et cetera, but you got Dakota Ditcheva, you got Usman Nurmagomedov, you got Paul Hughes. How important is that, Gene, compared to those in terms of what PFL can do with them moving forward?
I mean, I just think the Paul Hughes thing is not a reasonable comparison because this was Thad's first real breakout, whereas Paul Hughes kind of had one. Paul Hughes was not anonymous when he signed to PFL. He had already made a name for himself in the European regional scene or international scene with Cage Warriors, and then was a proven guy who could have gone to UFC or PFL, chose PFL. Whereas Thad Gene, for some people, just kind of came out of nowhere. It's a very, very different scenario.
What sub-league for PFL?
Challengers.
Challengers, okay.
So what I'm trying to point out is Thad's got a little bit of work to do promotionally to be even close to Paul Hughes, to be quite honest with you. There is just some proving that has to go into it. However, these young stars, all in their 20s, Ditcheva, I think Hughes is still in his 20s, and then certainly Thad Gene is. These kinds of names are the core names that they now need to promotionally put resources into back and then feature, rather than we're going to go to Cape Town and just plug in your fucking stupid ass fight there. Right. That's what has to happen.
And this is where I keep harping on the format, because this was such a breakout performance against a proven name in Storley that even though they gave him a belt afterwards, it was the championship belt of their welterweight tournament. I wish this crowned him as the PFL welterweight champion, because the next thing you'd say is, oh, who's next in line? I want to see him again. Let's go. Instead, what does it really make him? It makes him sort of the PFL America's season champion, and now he goes to the Global Champions League and fights people from other PFL territories. It's like that just
the Champions League of MMA.
That just waters down how big of a breakthrough story I think he was to them and what he should be. Like, that's the problem I have with this, that this was on ESPN. Like, this was an exciting fight card. I thought the presentation was great. Dan Hardy's fantastic on commentary. Great. There's a lot I liked about it. I wish this was even bigger than it was. Let's show Gene coming out of the cage there at Boardwalk
Randy
Hall.
was there, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Randy. You can see his tournament title there. The crowd very, very happy to see him, and certainly a breakthrough moment. And speaking of the value he brings, I like that they're using a friend of the show, Jonathan Coachman, as a mouthpiece. Here's Coach after the fact talking about the value that Gene does bring to the company.
Any fighter in the history of combat sports has to have those fights and those performances that take him to that next level, and you have to be able to pass those tests in order to be seen as a star. And we believe here at the PFL that we need to find our own fighters, grow our own fighters, and make stars out of our own fighters. And Thad Gene is one of those guys that we absolutely believe in, and tonight he put on a spectacular performance. For a guy that is so young, he told me on Wednesday, walked right up to me, and he says, "Coach, I'm in the best shape of my entire life, and everybody thinks that I'm going to get taken into the 4th and 5th round and I'm going to be tired." And did he get a little bit tired? Who wouldn't? But he was still able to throw quick jabs. He was still able to pretty much on the feet dominate the fight, and he really had a great, I think, ground game and defense against Logan Storley, who's an unbelievable grappler as well. So shout out. We still have 6 more to go. We'll get to those in a little bit, but I think tonight was a great start to our World Tournament final.
So, Luke, let's talk about this fight. He did go 5 rounds. He did lose the 4th round on all 3 judges' scorecards, but I am so impressed. The striking, the variety of it. I mean, he could have. I almost felt like Storley was looking close to getting stopped a couple times, but it was just such an overall dominant performance when you take into account the takedown defense, because it wasn't just stuffing the takedowns of a proven grappler who you knew was coming in there to take you down. He was reversing that into top position a few times too. Like, he just looked bigger, stronger, smarter, better variety of game. Where do you think the holes are moving forward, if there are any? Because this, to me, showed, yeah, this guy's world-class.
So, a couple of things. I mean, he definitely did look really good in the wrestling. His scrambling looked great. I do wonder if Jason Jackson with a second chance might have a little bit more success with him on, like, second order.
It was a split decision. It was a close fight.
Yeah, like a second order kind of thing. Like, you can tighten up some of the differences to account for them. So, in other words, that Gene doesn't have quite what I would call instinctual takedown defense yet. It's very good. It's reactive. Please don't misunderstand me. It's very good. But against someone who can chain them together more nimbly, it does not look yet to me like the kind that's got ready for all of those answers. But it was certainly plenty for him on Friday night. The other part, too, is the way in which he kind of has a loose hands-down approach. Someone's going to pop him for that. Someone with a good jab is going to really cause problems. So you're saying,
like, he's like...
He gets here and he moves his hands like this, like he's trying to shake a booger off of him.
Okay.
And even if he wasn't, even if they were still, they'd be right about here. I find that, like, that style of... He's good at moving his head, which is why... But, like, Storley's not the guy to test that through combination. So, again, you have to think about how does their style match up, obviously, against the person that they're up against, but also, like, what are the limits to that? So he's obviously got a ton of ability, but to me, like to me, it's more about like where the defensive vulnerabilities are for him. And they're not huge, but against a guy like Musayev, they could be, right?
But you were saying you were watching the PFL post show, and they brought out his family. What was that?
He had his whole supporter crew there, and
parents are from Haiti.
From Haiti. They brought him out. They brought his whole family out, and like just hearing the family celebrate and cheer. Dude, this was the biggest day of their lives. I don't know. Seemed like in a long time. They were over the moon for their guy. It's just nice to see. It's nice to see that.
Long Island Luke, was Gaffney Jim Pierre, former technical director of this show and friend of the Main Card Minute, was he just on fire after this?
Yeah, he was live for it. He was loving it. He also put in the Haitian parlay. Thad Gene and Neil Magny cashed that shit.
Oh wow! Should have got Andre Berto in there for like a triple parlay. Got a fight though. Yeah, there you go. Big win for Thad Gene.
Andre Berto has a fight coming up?
No, I'm saying he would have to have a fight coming up. Shout out to Andre Berto. Big win in the main event. Big win for PFL.